In this video, I'm covering what is CBD Dominant RSO. But before we get into what it is and why I created it, let's first go over the problem with traditional Rick Simpson oil, also known as full extract cannabis oil. So while traditional RSO works amazingly well, it has one huge drawback. It gets you crazy high, and I mean blasted out of your mind, paranoid, I can't function high. So even seasoned cannabis enthusiasts like myself, they don't want to be that high all day, every day. So the reality is that most people don't want to get high from cannabis. They just want to get better. So what do people usually do in this situation? Well, they usually choose one of what I call two bad options. Option one is to take RSO only at night, but that doesn't allow you enough RSO to ingest into your body to overcome a serious condition like cancer or glaucoma, like I have. And then option two is not to take it at all and just deal with the situation. Neither of these options is optimal, especially for hardcore conditions requiring high doses throughout the day. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Morentin. I'm the founder of MyFitLife, and I went blind from glaucoma and got my vision back with cannabis oils and crushed a lifetime of migraines and chronic pain along the way. And if I stop taking my oils, I'll go blind in less than a week. And for that reason, I'm known as patient zero for the company. So why did I create a daytime version of RSO? Well, it's simple. I didn't want to get high during the day while working with clients and doing consultations. So I set out on a mission to develop a CBD dominant version of RSO that works as good as the THC dominant version without the high. It took over 2 years to develop, and I released it in 2018. And the result is that I created a CBD dominant version of RSO that works better for me and many others in our community than the high THC version. Now, this isn't just any CBD extract. Number one, it's not commercial hemp. Now, traditional commercial industrial hemp, it's tall and lanky, like bamboo almost, and it's grown for industrial purposes like making rope or sheet t-shirts or hempcrete, and it's also used for making the seeds that we use like to make smoothies and stuff like that. They're very nutritious, by the way. It grows fast. It actually has a low CBD content, but so much of it grows so quickly that you can extract tons of CBD due to its volume. But the problem with it is I can't get the benefits I need for my glaucoma from that industrial hemp, okay? The reason is that it's not rich in other cannabinoids, plus the terpenes, flavonoids, etc. They aren't abundant either. Like I don't even know if they're in there at all, but if they are, they're in very low amounts. So the end result with that is I'll go blind taking commercial hemp extractions. If we don't use industrial hemp plants, then what do we use? So we use specialized CBD dominant cannabis plants. So what do I mean by that? They are cannabis indica plants crossed with cannabis ruderalis plants. So you probably never heard of ruderalis plants, but ruderalis plants are cannabis plants that are naturally high in CBD but very low in THC. So they're not liked by the cannabis community. So they were sort of set to the side as like a bastard stepchild, basically. But they do have like very good therapeutic benefits, being that it's high in CBD and but it's very low in THC, so it doesn't get you high. And then we cross that with the cannabis indica plants that are cannabinoid rich. They have high amounts of THC and other cannabinoids, including CBC, CBG, CBN, CBD, and also has the other flavonoids, isoflavones, etc. And after generations of breeding these plants, then we were able to lower the THC content while maintaining the other cannabinoids and isoflavones and flavonoids and other phytonutrients. So it became like sort of the opposite, where the CBD was dominant in the plant and the THC was lower, just like the other minor cannabinoids, right? And the result of that is a bushy, short, indica-looking cannabis plant that's CBD dominant. So after a variety of these high CBD cannabis strains were developed, I was able to stumble upon or develop the 5-cannabinoid formula. And this is the 5 cannabinoids that are required to get the benefit that I was looking for to actually save my eyesight and they had to be naturally occurring at specific thresholds. And those cannabinoids are CBD, THC, CBG, CBC, and CBN. Now, the main key requirement for these cannabinoids is that they must be naturally occurring at specific thresholds or percentages. We can't add any isolates, in other words, all right? We don't add any isolates to boost the levels. For example, if CBC, which is one of the cannabinoids, is low, but everything else is looking good, like we have the other cannabinoids at the right thresholds, and there's potent terpenes and flavonoids, et cetera, in the oil, we still won't use that oil because we don't add CBC isolate to boost up the levels of CBC to be acceptable, okay? So we just get rid of that oil and find an oil that has all the cannabinoids in the specific thresholds or percentages, and only 1 to 5% of plants meet these requirements, okay? And it took years of testing to figure out these exact combinations. My first big breakthrough was discovering that CBG was a critical factor for my vision. Now, the high CBD and the proper THC levels that we got out of the cannabis plants, once we had done that, it became fairly easy. But the CBG, we noticed that that made the difference for my eyesight, right? But there was one caveat. Sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, and we couldn't figure out why. So it kept on going. And in other words, like the CBG, when it was at these certain levels, I noticed that it would help my eyesight. But then other times you would have another oil that had the same exact levels of CBG and THC and CBD, but it didn't work for my eyes. And it took me to figuring out that I needed to test other cannabinoids. So we started testing about 8 to 10 cannabinoids. And that's when I figured out the 5-cannabinoid formula. Okay. And the cool thing about it is if it works for my glaucoma, which is one of the hardest conditions out there, it can work for just about everything else, including cancer, chronic pain, etc. So this wasn't like an easy journey. It literally took 19 years of development. Years 1 through 17 were me searching and then being exposed to and perfecting the traditional THC dominant Rick Simpson oil extraction process. You know, we use lab grade equipment, extract under vacuum to maximize quality, purity, and potency. And the end result of that is we get consistent quality that works for my eyes every single time. And like I said, I'm the patient zero for the company. So the next 2 years, years 18 and 19, we're focused solely on developing a CBD dominant version of RSO or FECO that doesn't get you high and works just as good or better than the THC dominant version. And the breakthrough was understanding that it wasn't just about high CBD, it was about that 5-cannabinoid formula. Now, I'm very fortunate to be able to do this painstaking process because 99.9% of companies, they aren't able to do this because they don't do their own extractions. They depend on white label manufacturers. And these white label manufacturers, they buy the cheapest bulk materials available. And they don't test for multiple cannabinoids. They just test for CBD and make sure that the THC is legally compliant. There's no picking and choosing. They just get what they get. And that 0.01% that does their own extractions, they're very small operations that don't have access to the variety of raw material that we do. So there's no picking and choosing with them either. They also just get what they get. So let me explain why I have access when others don't. Number one is I have longevity in the industry. I've been working with cannabis farmers since 1987, like working directly with cannabis farmers since 1987. So I have deep connections in the cannabis industry. And I also work with farming co-ops. We work with these co-ops which give us access to dozens of strains to extract from to find the perfect oil. Now, these co-ops, they are a co-op of farms that they farm organically, actually biodynamically beyond organic principles. You know, so it's the principles that I, use as my standards for growing. And I get access to these multiple farms that grow multiple strains. So literally over 100 strains I have access to pick and choose from. I keep the best, and then we sell the rest to other companies, right? So we have access to the best oils possible. and other companies just do not have this access. One of the other huge advantages that we have is that we have complete oversight. We're one of a handful of companies with total control from soil to oil. We have direct grower contracts with a unique variety of strains that are not available on the open market. And we have protocols set from seeding to packaging, what I like to call from soil to oil, that ensure the quality and purity of our products. And each batch is tested. If it doesn't meet all 5-cannabinoid thresholds, the material is rejected and sold to another company. Now let's go over some of the benefits of our CBD Dominant RSO. Benefit number one is there's no high, but it has all the therapeutic benefits of traditional RSO. That makes it much more attractive to a wider audience. You can take it throughout the day without worry, and you can take as much as you need or desire without getting high. It actually enhances motor skills instead of impairing them. It reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and panic attacks. And on the other side of that, it enhances confidence, mental recall, and clarity. Benefit number two is that it's legal nationwide. So there's less than 0.3% THC in the finished product, so it's federally compliant. There's no prescription or doctor's recommendation needed, and there's no legal worries or ramifications. There's easy access anywhere in the United States. It's literally delivered to your doorstep, and it's safe to travel with on plane, train, car, etc. Remember that our proprietary extraction methods took 17 years to develop. It's a whole plant extraction, mostly flower, no major stalks. We use a sub-zero extraction method at -30 to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's extracted under vacuum to preserve maximum nutrients. We use a 100% organic, 200 proof food grade ethanol, and it's all extracted in a USDA certified organic facility. So why 100% organic, 200 proof food grade ethanol? So each of those words means something, and not every ethanol has that. That not every ethanol is 100% organic, not every ethanol is 200 proof, and not every ethanol is food grade. So ours that has all of that costs 5 to 10 times more than other solvents. It's safe for human consumption. It's a pure grain alcohol derived from plants for plants. And it safely extracts all cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and other phytonutrients. This CBD dominant version of RSO that's available and legal in all 50 states solves the two biggest RSO industry problems. Problem number one is availability. So there's no more searching dispensaries or trying to go online or buy it on street corners or parking lots, which I had to do in the past. It's readily available when you want it or need it, and it's delivered directly to your door. Problem number two, and arguably the biggest problem, is consistency. It's very hard to get the same quality product every time, but we solved that. There's no more wondering if crucial soil to oil steps were done right. We eliminate the stress, anxiety, and depression from inconsistent sources. So make no mistake about it, our CBD dominant version of RSO or FECO has been a game changer for literally thousands in our community. For daily users, being able to travel with it, like in planes and trains and even in your car, creates freedom. And for those who need high doses like myself, you can take as much as you need without worrying about getting high. That's literally the difference between success and failure for many people. And the cool thing about it is it gets people up off the sidelines and back into the game of life. Our commitment to you is to produce the most pure and potent ethanol extracted RSO available on the market using USDA certified organic farms in the United States. No artificial ingredients, flavors, or preservatives in the finished product. 100% safe and natural, and it's the best RSO at the best price with consistent availability. To recap, 19 years of development led to this breakthrough in creating our CBD dominant RSO. If it works for glaucoma, which is one of the hardest conditions to overcome, It can work for most other issues, including cancer, chronic pain, anxiety, and even PTSD. And the solution was a high quality RSO without the high, available when you need it. So, what is our CBD FECO used for? The biggest thing it's used for right now at MyFitLife is cancer. Okay, so it can be used by itself, and we had great success with that. But right now, the most popular way to use it is as a daytime formula, and then use the THC dominant version as a nighttime formula. So they take the CBD dominant daytime formula all throughout the day and get that benefit, and they'll do the high THC version during the evening. So about 60% of the CBD dominant daytime formula and about 40% of the THC dominant nighttime formula. So as an example, if you're working up to like that gram a day with the RSO protocol for cancer, which is very popular, you would be doing 600 milligrams during the day of the CBD dominant version and 400 milligrams during the evening of the THC dominant version, for a total of 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram of RSO. Okay. And for most other conditions, people are having great success just taking the daytime formula. They take the CBD dominant formula during the day and night, so usually morning and evening. And it's good for like chronic pain, arthritis, neuropathy, all the way down to things like anxiety, stress, depression, and panic attacks. So what's next? If you enjoyed this content and would like to get a copy of the presentation slide deck, it'll be available in my Cannabis Oil Secrets community. It's free to join, and you'll gain access to a community of like-minded people. Plus, you'll get access to free protocols for a variety of conditions, including cancer, chronic pain, etc. Just go to schoolwithak.com/FECO. It's free to join, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the group. This is Morentin with MyFitLife and Cannabis Oil Secrets. I hope you have a beautiful day.